about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. The 1-877-Dr. Daliah, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So I hope you all had a great weekend. I did. We went with some friends to Sand Hollow Beach. We were supposed to be up at Pine Valley, camping and cooling off because it's really, really hot in southern Nevada. But the Forsyth fire was going on, and I posted some pictures of that on Twitter or X and Facebook. It was it was heartbreaking to see a wildfire, take down such a beautiful, beautiful landscape. So instead, we were able to, at the last minute, find some camping spots at Sand Hollow State Park in Utah. Now, Sand Hollow State Park is a golden gem in that you have this lake or reservoir, and you have sandy red beaches. We're talking red sand, so soft. You could boat, jet ski, cliff dive. It's one of my favorite places for a quick getaway. But boy, it was hot. It was so hot. And the funny thing is we had a canopy. We had a swamp cooler. We were cool and fine when we were under. It actually was really comfortable. But the bringing all the stuff out of the car onto the beach, bringing it back, not easy. And it was interesting because I noticed with all of us, the heat started to get to us. So the first thing that happens to me when I start to get heat sick is I get quiet. Now, as soon as I shut up, that's when everybody knows something's really, really wrong. Am I unconscious? Two is nobody really wanted to drink. We had some, it's like, no, why? I was nauseous. I get nauseous, I guess, when I'm heat sick. Now, I don't think I was pregnant because I've had a hysterectomy, so it has to be the heat illness. And then I didn't want to sleep, but I didn't want to be awake, and I couldn't get comfortable. And then the big red flag for me is I didn't want to eat. There was such good food. Our friends brought amazing lunch, and I was like, I don't think I want to eat. Now, mind you, okay, this could be a great diet for me to just get too hot where I don't want to eat, but it's not healthy and safe. And heat illness, as we talked about, can be very, very concerning. Now, when we talk about heat illness, sometimes the first sign is heat cramps, where you have cramps. Be very, very careful when you hear of the stages of heat illness, because what happens is a lot of people say, but I don't get the cramps. I don't get the cramps. When I get heat sick, I don't get cramps, but some people do. And the reason why you get the heat cramps is you get so dehydrated that you lose, after you sweat, a lot of your salts. And then that could affect your muscles. Plus, dehydration could do that. And your body is also trying to alert you that you need to get the hell out of the heat and get someplace cool. So when you start feeling heat cramps, you got to sip your fluid, get your electrolytes in, avoid alcohol, cool down, and get the hell out of the sun. Then comes heat exhaustion, which is what I had. That's when you start getting nauseated, you get tired, you feel like, you really feel sick. And I didn't feel good. It's funny, once I cooled down, I got my second wind. I was like, okay, I'm ready to party. But then everybody else is like, I want to go to bed. But some people with heat exhaustion, they're on their way to heat stroke. And so they may be clammy. Their heart rate might go up because you've lost a lot of fluids. One way to tell is nobody's peeing. Now, I go and pee every few hours. I didn't have to pee all day. That's a sign that I probably had too much heat. And so you need to get out of the heat, fluids, rest, get the person indoors, because sometimes they might not realize it. They're like, oh, no, I'm just tired. I didn't sleep well last night. No, you're getting heat sick. And then, God forbid, if we don't get these people in, they could go into heat stroke. Heat stroke is a medical emergency. We do not mess around when it's heat stroke. These people could become unconscious. And even if they're not unconscious, they could still be in heat stroke. You have got to cool them down. Some people will make the mistake of, well, let's give you Tylenol or Motrin to reduce your fever. No. It's not a fever. If it's heat illness, you don't be giving medications that could affect their liver or their kidneys. You have to give them fluids. You have to get medical personnel there right away by calling 911. Remove unnecessary clothing, cool their body down by putting cool compresses under their arms and their groin area, near back of the neck, things like that. I don't like to go near the carotid, so I would say back of the neck. And then fluids, keeping them cool. If they're unconscious, do not try and give them fluids because they're going to aspirate. It's going to go into the lungs. And all this is happening after you've called 911 and hopefully somebody is there. So people that are vulnerable to heat illness are young people, older people. I grew up in Phoenix and Vegas, but I'm getting older and I'm noticing I'm feeling it a little bit more. Try to do as little activity as possible. If there is activity you need to do, like your beach setup or your barbecue setup, do it when it's cool. Because that's the mistake a lot of us make. Like I slept in, I was tired. We were up to 3 the night before talking by the campfire. So when I woke up at 10, 11. Well, by then it was hot. And so try to do whatever your setup is early when it's cool so that you already don't start the process of heat illness. This way, when you have we brought a swamp cooler and a fan. The fan did nothing. That was my mistake. But Corey brought a swamp cooler, and that was really cool. We tied it up to a generator. We're real weenies when we, camp and go out into the heat. Your older individuals have issues. And then, of course, there's medications. And medications can make you more susceptible to the heat. If you're taking a diuretic, if you're taking a beta blocker, if you're taking vasodilators, if you're taking antidepressants, certain medications could put you at risk. Plus, certain medications could give you some sensitivity reactions like we talked about, like thyroid medication, sulfa-based medication, diabetes medication. So you need to make sure, you stay out of the sun if you're on a medication that can make you more sensitive to the sun. Your pets need to stay cool. Luckily, our pets are really good. They were by the swamp cooler. They were in the beach. They did really, really well. They did better than us. But the funny thing is we almost ran out of water. I mean, we packed packs of water and went through that like crazy. So always be prepared. But heat illness, we're going to have a really bad summer. I'm from Southern Nevada, so we had a really mild June. It was kind of nice. We lucked out. But now we're going to start coming into the heat of the things. Make sure your air conditioning works. All right? Don't just wait until the summer. I told you guys in the spring, start making sure that works. Have generators, have swamp coolers, and have a way to get out of Dodge if you need to, if it's too hot. If you can't take the heat, leave. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH. Don't go away.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? My name is Ron LeGrand, and over the past 40 years, I've bought over 3,000 houses without using my money or credit and taught thousands to do the same. Today, even in a virtual environment, we buy nice houses in nice neighborhoods using no banks, realtors, contractors, or other costly entanglements, and build huge cash flow and wealth without the hassle of tenants, all without credit and little or no money. You don't need a license or experience, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Text FREE to 99799, and I'll send you my free training. I promise you I'll change the way you think about real estate and open the door to a new lifestyle that doesn't involve risk or rehabs and can quickly replace your current income. Text FREE to 99799 and let me show you how to take your life back and build cash flow and wealth from your home. That's FREE to 99799. Again, FREE to 99799.
Hi, it's Mark Falter, host of the Financial Fitness Show. I strongly believe that no one should ever pay 1 penny more in taxes than they are legally obligated. Unfortunately, for most hardworking Americans, this just isn't the case. Why? Because most people spend more time planning next weekend's getaway than trying to ensure they're going to pay less in taxes. My financial fitness team has put together some materials that I know are going to help you. It's the Tax Savings Kit. Tax Savings Kit includes 3 things: free tax analysis, top 10 ways to pay less in taxes, and an investor's guide to taxes. Now, how do you get it? Simple. 866-764-2635. Again, 866-764-2635. I'm Mark Falter. This is Financial Fitness, making personal finance profitable.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer. And big thanks to you all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Daliah, Facebook, The Dr. Daliah Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. So I see this with families time and time again, where the families are split up. You're looking at brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles. And when you get to the root of some of it is politics. Some of it is somebody saying something ridiculous and mean. But a big cause and a big root of it is they don't want to take on their responsibility with older family members. And boy, does that get bad. And it gets so bad that when you have one person who almost faced financial ruin, and like in my case, with two family members dying, family not helping. Now you have another family member who we love, but all of a sudden all the siblings are like, well, yeah, she lives with you. So, yeah, we'll just, yeah. So if we need to have a discussion without my, naming any names, I am living through what many of you are living through, and it's a shame, because the people in my family individually are good people. It's just they have an ability and an opportunity to be selfish and to screw me over. And I'm nervous about how I proceed because I want to teach you all how to mend relationships. I want to teach you all how to avoid getting screwed. The problem is I made mistakes. When the poop was rolling downhill, I jumped into action. And I never thought ahead of, well, I could then be in a position where the family will screw me over because I'm like, you do good. If you do good, it all works out. And we are in a position now where because the other siblings want to protect themselves, I mean, they won't even ask to call me, talk to me. Nobody wants to, So, and listen, I understand I'm a doctor, and so there is no way I want medically, anything to happen to somebody without my being able to help. But when you're in a position where you see them possibly put you in financial ruin, you have to protect yourself. And it's a shame that family members become more enemies to you than any of your other people you come in contact with this globe. It blows my mind that I am closer to friends than my family. And the key is you have to make sure you don't get hurt, because if you get hurt, you can't help. And you need to be able to help somebody. But sometimes the only way for you not to get hurt is to step back. And when you step back and nobody comes up to the plate because they know they got you, they know that you're not going to abandon the person. You have to come up with a plan. And so I am right now seeing my family again stay as divided and as dispersed, and it kills me, because like I said, individually, everybody is a good person and they have their own, problems. Everybody has their own problems, but I don't understand why I can't get my family to work together. And if you're stronger as a family unit. And I'm so envious of all these other families, these Hispanic families, these African-American families, these Mormon families, these Catholic families, where they come together and they work as a team. And, I thought I could get the team together. It's been 21 years. I still can't. Why? Because everybody thinks it's easier to just escape and hide and not help. And the problem is it's, and, maybe it's because of the way everybody was raised and everybody was pitted, when you get in trouble for what another sibling does, and who knows, but I know because they've admitted to it. They've admitted that they don't want to be financially involved. Well, now you have a situation where it's not cool and the finances are running out. So what do you do so you're not in a position where your biggest enemy are your family members? Like I said, the first thing to do is offer, can we all talk? If they don't want to talk to you on the phone, if they don't want to, they all want to pretend they're sick or something, At least try to get everybody to communicate. If you have the person who wants to be helped making all these rules and making all these stipulations, then let them handle things. You're allowed to do that because you aren't going to be able to. You have to know what's going to be successful. And I always play the long game. The long game is making sure everybody has their needs met. If they don't, it makes absolutely no sense for somebody to buy somebody's medication 1 week just for there not to be any medication 2 months down the line. So you have to make sure the long game is set. Seeing though my not having family members, do I go to friends? Who do I go to help? Well, you should be able to go to the government. And interestingly, some states have much better resources than others. So one option you could do is to get that family member in a location that has much better resources. The reason why people pay into Medicare, pay into Social Security is because by the time they need it, that's supposed to be there for them. And there's also a lot of government programs for driving, for assisted living, for people coming to the house, etc. So if you feel like you're drowning, you have options. And that's the problem. People don't feel they have options. So they fight, so they feel hurt, so they, actually there are options. And your job is to make the best move possible. My mistake is I try to do 100%. And I'm coming to the realization that nobody's going to be happy. People are not going to like me. But if I can make sure the long game is what is the best move for that person, and to make sure they're going to have the resources they need, even if family members only like 50% of it, screw it. What's going to make everybody happy is if I just take everything on. That won't work. And if you guys are in that same situation, I hear you. I'm living it. And the long game is making sure that whoever needs to be taken care of has that long term. And to see families break up and get selfish, it really kills me because, I know what's going to happen. God forbid this person leaves the earth, then everybody's going to try to be friendly again. And you go back and you go, really? I needed you. I needed you guys for 21 years and you weren't there. And, I never thought I would be in this position where I would be like, tell your family to just go to hell, because I think family and family units work together. But at some point, if they don't want to be a family, they don't, there's only so much you could do. So the advice to you guys is, one, try to get everybody to the talking table. Try to show and split things up. Have that family member live 3 months of the year in all 4 different places if everybody's scattered. And if you really need to protect yourself, you move. You go and do your life. Your 5-year plan can't be taking care of everybody else. And if you need to move and start your life fresh, you're allowed to do that. But if other family members don't step up, you have to affront them on that. And you have to have them, actually, it's interesting because they're starting to put this stuff in writing. They really shouldn't. But, have them admit that they don't want to help. And then because if you're always hoping they're going to help me, just give them another year. I'm done with that. And that was my problem. I was hopeful that I would get some help. So I'm going to be making some decisions that I think are only going to be 50% liked by some of my family members, but I think it's going to be the long game. You guys take the advice home of, one, if you can't communicate, your job is to be ethical. Your job is to make sure that you are doing your part, that God is happy with you, and that you are doing everything possible. You're only human. And for there to only be one person to take on the troubles of the whole family year after year after year, decade after decade, it's not going to be feasible. So look at the long game. Figure out what the long game is and what the best way to do it. And if you do feel alone and you feel overwhelmed, contact the state. Contact your doctor. They will know of resources, because too many people are going through this alone because their family sucks. I mean, it sucks. Or they're selfish, or they're acting out. And there is help. Go to your church. go to your temple, go to your mosque, because they understand. You think you're the only person going through this, but me as a doctor, I've seen families do this all the time. And I'm like, well, I can help stave this off. I think I'll be able to protect that. I think when the time comes, everybody's going to step up. No, they don't. They don't. So if you feel overwhelmed, talk to people. Get your doctor involved, talk to state agencies, but it doesn't have to be so hard. And the family shouldn't have to break up unless you find they're toxic and it's better with them not involved. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. Don't go away. Hi, guys. Dr. Daliah here. Addictions can sneak up on us and come in many forms, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, video games, porn, or something less obvious, such as food, internet, or shopping. Addiction can seem innocent at first and then evolve into an insurmountable evil. In our book, Addiction Basics, Caitlin Kalikas and I dive into the common addictions and provide tips for identifying and preventing these before they sneak in and take over our lives. Addiction Basics can be found on Amazon or my website, drdaliah.com. Check it out.
Increase fuel economy up to 7.9% with Hot Shot's Secret Gasoline Extreme, the solution to maximize your engine's performance and fuel economy. Whether you're driving a sports car or a daily commuter, Gasoline Extreme is specially formulated with PEA to deep clean. Don't settle for an average driving experience. Upgrade to Hot Shot's Secret Gasoline Extreme and go further on each tank. Order now on Amazon or HotShotSecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY, 1-877-DOC-DALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen, and big thanks to Danielle, our producer. So, a lot of us run late. We just always seem to be late. And there are some headlines talking about how that could be a medical diagnosis. It's called time agnosia. Time agnosia is a condition where you don't manage your time properly. Now, I don't want to give people diagnoses, but do you have a problem where you always run late? I will have a problem running late on purpose. If I want to be somewhere on time, I could do it. But I run late on purpose. For me, there's some advantages. But for some of you, running late gets you fired, causes issues with your relationships. So when I was in medical school, I would always be the first one there. I wanted to kiss up. And I noticed that one time when I was a little bit late, it was noticed. And so I told myself, what if I just start coming late? So then they get so used to me coming in late that when I do show up on time, it's a good thing. Now, I didn't miss, by coming in late, it'd be like 30 seconds. I'm not talking about 15 minutes into class. I wouldn't have got the board scores I got if I missed class. But I noticed that if you get, being there early, because I used to always be the goody two-shoes. Being the goody two-shoes didn't always win and have the benefits I thought it would. So I would come in, I'd get to sit in the back of the class, sneak in, sit in the back. I kind of liked it. That worked for me. Another thing I do is because I see patients online, I don't, time is money. And for me to sit and wait for somebody to get dressed and ready to go or wait for somebody else to be late, I will see patients up until the last minute and then I will go. So if I have to wait 10, 20 minutes for something, I might as well go online and see a patient that could be waiting to be seen on the telemedicine platform. And do my note, etc., and get stuff done. I've noticed I don't like to waste time. Now that I'm middle-aged and I don't know how much time I'm going to have before I become a senior, time is pretty important to me. So I don't want to wait and sit there scratching my butt. So I get stuff done. Another reason why some of us might put off things to the last minute is you don't want the awkward I have to hang out with somebody and talk to them while waiting for everybody else. So let's say you're going to a meeting or a dinner or a party, and you don't really want to be hanging out with the early people. I like to come to a party once everybody's there, unless I'm hungry. If I'm hungry, then I want to get there first to eat. So it depends on the food. So running late, you really, before a doctor gets involved and starts diagnosing them with time agnosia, what you need to do is exactly figure out what is going on. Is it that also they are sleeping through their alarm? Now, every little thing wakes me up. I wish I could sleep through an alarm. I think that's only happened maybe twice in my whole life. But if you do sleep through your alarm, well, that's a red flag. Is it that you're not sleeping well and you're always exhausted? Is it that your, oxygen is low? Are you having hearing issues? And so I would say have a doctor look at you if you just can't get up in the morning. For me, getting up in the morning is not too hard. I'm a morning person. Jump in the shower, get dressed, tumble out of bed, and assemble to the kitchen. I mean, I could just do my thing, get up, go, and I'm good. I do like to wake up, though, an hour and a half before I need to leave. Because even though I prep my show the night before, I like to make sure I know all the latest headlines and see if I have to change any of my prep. But if you're like, no, I will not be able to it takes me 30, 40 minutes to start perking up. Well, then you need to get up earlier and start that perking up. Whether it's, and I know everybody says they go to coffee, I would go out into the sun. Now, most of my life, I woke up when the sun wasn't up because I had to get to the clinic early or the hospital early. But if you have the type of schedule where the sun is out when you wake up, go outside in the sun. That wakes you up. If you look at what the old farmers used to do, after the rooster would go cock-a-doodle-doo, they would go out and stretch in the sunlight. Your outhouse used to be outside. And if you're not getting that natural sun, you won't wake up. If you're having trouble waking up, get a little bit of sun. Don't get out there and get melanoma, but let the sun, let the breeze wake you up. Unless, of course, it's snowing. And then, look at when you go to bed. I like to go to bed earlier than later because going to bed later for me, I don't like to lose the morning. The morning is my best time. So I want to make sure I have plenty of morning. So I would rather, even though I love the night, I used to be a night owl. Nobody's inviting me to raves anymore or the club. So do I really have to be up till 11, 12 o'clock these days? No. So try to go to bed early. But some people do have something called time agnosia or time blindness. And it's an executive function issue. And so if you start to notice a family member who is really, really good as it pertains to, getting there on time, and then all of a sudden they're just always late. They're never ready. That could be a sign that they're having some cognitive decline. And you need to get that checked out. Attention deficit could also do it. Alcohol use. If you drink alcohol, that could be a problem. But they notice people that have time issues are those with Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, depression, anxiety, traumatic brain injuries, OCD, autism. According to Fox News, you could see these conditions in people with those issues. Now, time blindness is not listed in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, or our DSM-5, which is our psychiatric Bible. But it is something that is a clue. So, what you need to do is make sure that any sort of functioning that has to happen gets planned out. So if you have to, let's say, feed the dogs or feed the cats in the morning, is it easier for you to feed them at night? If you're going to be forgetting things or being late, if you don't have gas, see, that's my problem. I wait as long as possible to fill up my gas tank when it's like barely empty. And that's not smart. But the reason why I do it is because I get points from my Chevrons, Albertsons. You get points. And so if I get 50 cents off a gallon, I don't want to just fill up a half a tank. I want to fill up my whole tank. So I let it run, I let it go but if in the morning you're running late, you got to fill your gas tank up at night. Do what you need. Don't put off tomorrow what you could do today and get the stuff done. Make sure you have notes. If you like a shower, get the shower. And then also, talk to your boss or your family members about flexibility. Is this a hard 9 a.m. or a soft 9 a.m.? Because when you have to be somewhere at 9, is it I have to be there before 9 or 9-ish is when it starts? Like a movie. You go to a movie, the movie starts at 4 p.m., and by the time the movie starts, it's 4:45 because of all the spoilers and the what's it called when you have all those movies that the teasers, and you're sitting there going, "Come on, really? I could have gotten here early." Also, I noticed that with weddings. So I'll get to a wedding, and they tell you to get there by a certain time, and you're waiting 45 minutes. Well, I don't want to wait. I'd rather get there and only wait 5 minutes. So these are things to think about. But time blindness or agnosia could be a sign of executive function issues. So talk to your medical provider. We've talked about getting older and our memory losses and issues that we might have. Everybody's afraid of looking like Biden. Having some memory loss or memory lapses are par for the course, especially since we're multitasking. We might not be putting things to memory like we used to. If a guy gave me his phone number, I would be making a song about it and reciting it all the way home. So I wouldn't forget his number. Now, we'll just put it in my phone. So make sure you're doing some memory tasks to keep that up and keep your memory going. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. Don't go away.
Hey guys, it's Clyde. We've had a lot of requests for Ground Zero merchandise, so we put together an online store with a big variety of high-quality items. I'm really excited to let you know about these things. We have a lot to offer you and your loved ones. In addition to our regular apparel, such as t-shirts, beanies, hoodies, and hats, we've expanded our product line with posters, flags, aprons, mugs, and a whole lot more. We also have Ground Zero collectibles along with a limited edition of items like a Clyde Lewis canvas portrait, a Ground Zero embroidered jacket that will certainly make for great gifts and for interesting conversations with family and friends. And we now offer publications such as Ron Patton's book about mind control, MK Zine, and back copies of the official magazine of Ground Zero while it was in print. Paranoia, the Conspiracy Reader, also coming in 2023, are updated and revised books that I've written. There's a secure and easy-to-use shopping cart for your purchases. So shop today at our official store by going to groundzeromerch.com. Again, that's groundzeromerch.com.
Hey, America. How tired are you of mainstream corporate media's biased narratives and manipulated news? Their dishonesty and attempts to influence this generation have been exposed, put on display for anyone who's even half paying attention. But the New American Magazine has been an honest source of news and commentary for over 50 years. This is your opportunity to receive the stalwart of principled journalism at a deep discount. Picture a beautifully published magazine arriving at your doorstep twice a month, packed with insightful stories written with integrity. It's also available digitally on the New American's mobile app. Get up to speed with intelligent coverage from a freedom perspective. Right now, for a limited time, the New American is available to radio listeners at a 25% discount on a new subscription. Visit thenewamerican.com/radio25 and receive 25% off. Subscribe today at thenewamerican.com/radio25.
Back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So some people are kind of mixed with this whole Trump and tariff issue. And, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, we Americans pay more. When we import, we get taxed and tariffed by all these countries. And we don't seem to reciprocally charge them the same. It would be nice if there's no tariffs at all. Everybody gets rid of their tariffs, but they won't do that because America pays a lot in tariffs. So Trump comes into office saying, you know what? Maybe we're not going to do tit for tat because you will go bankrupt if we charge you what you charge us, but we're going to charge you more. because this is ridiculous. Well, everybody's getting their panties up in a bunch. As it pertains to the EU, the European Union has warned that if Trump does increase a 30% tariff on goods, that they won't be able to do trade with America. They said it would be almost impossible. Now, I'm confused because if they have been charging us, and this is, as I talked about with you and family members, and once somebody gets to take advantage and all of a sudden you stop it, everybody freaks out. You know, just like with what happened with U.S. aid and all that. When the gravy train stops, people get grumpy and they will fight however they need to fight to get. And go, why can't we just start the slate clean and make things fair? So EU will work with America. It looks like they are going to want to continue to trade. They don't let, and Trump said, I'm willing to talk, but we got to do something. But with Russia, this is interesting. Trump really wants Putin to stop invading and fighting and killing civilians in Ukraine. So Trump has threatened Russia with 100% tariffs if no peace deal is reached with Ukraine in the next 50 days. So Trump had promised before he got into office during his campaign that the war would be over before he enters office. And I understand he was going for the Ronald Reagan thing. And I supported that. Yeah. You know, but then there were so many things he needed to fix that he didn't make good on that perceived threat. And I was worried about that because when Obama drew a line with Syria, and if you don't follow through, people then start calling you whatever. What were they? Democrats were calling him taco chickening out, and Trump always chickens out, whatever. And they're doing that to goad him into doing something that they could then criticize him later for. But it wasn't that easy to stop Russia and have Russia turn back. Russia wants part of Ukraine, what they lost during the fall of the Soviet Union. Putin needs to tell his people he won, or he leaves office or gets shot, or whatever they do to leaders that don't make good on their promises. So Putin, and I don't have any sort of empathy, and I am not defending Putin at all, but when Putin does not come to the table to negotiate with Trump, it's because he wants to meet his goals. Well, Trump is tired of it, and America's tired of it because we're the ones that are helping Ukraine, and it's costing us a lot of money. And Ukraine should have never been invaded. People should have never been killed, raped, taken off. We were told that people were shipped off to Siberia. They lost their phones and passports. I mean, if that really happened and they're in concentration camps, we're looking just like we did during World War II. And this has to stop. And I had said when the war had started, we need to cut the head off the snake early on because this is going to go on for years. And here we are, and it is going on for years. So Trump is now going to impose 100% tariffs. He said, I'm disappointed in President Putin, because I thought we would have a deal 2 months ago, but it doesn't seem to get there. So based on that, we're going to be doing secondary tariffs. If we don't have a deal in 50 days, it's very simple, and they'll be at 100%, and that's the way it is. That can be more simple. It's just the way it is. I hope we don't have to do it. So now these import taxes paid by American importers on foreign goods will are what we're looking at in terms of what is, if you're an American and you're importing something, or a business is importing something, these other countries are taxing. Well, why aren't we reciprocating that to the degree that it needs to? And some of you believe in the numbers on Trump's poster. Some of you don't. I don't care. I'm not here to debate that. I just want things fair, and I want the war to stop. So will that make Putin come to the table? Putin needs an economy. Now, will they rely on China? Will they rely on other countries? I don't know if it's enough. America spends a lot of money. You don't want to tick America off. And this could involve his oil. It could involve their agriculture. There's a lot of things we get. So personally, I think Trump is probably one of the most, shall we say, executive presidents we've had in the executive branch that will execute things that need to be executed in terms of policy, in terms of us not getting screwed over. But he had promised that the war would end. He had also promised that all the hostages would come home. Now, I understand it's easier said than done. For us to get all the hostages back, it would mean boots on the ground with Americans in Gaza. And that's not very popular in America. So how does he get the hostages back? Assuming we still have those alive. There's a lot dead, and they're holding the bodies. But the ones that are still alive, that we believe are still alive, how do we get them back? Well, Trump had some good talk. He had some strong talk, but it didn't amount to anything. And so if he could, do something financially, then, that might make some movement. So I'm not overly optimistic about this, but I'm glad he's doing more than any other president has in recent history. President confirmed that the United States will be providing more arms to Ukraine through NATO allies that will be purchasing the weapons and transferring them to Kyiv. So Russia sees this. Russia sees American sentiment. And I told you what some of the people on the left are doing is making us weaker. And Russia knows that helping Ukraine is unpopular. And so if he could hold out till the next president, and then the next president comes and says, we're not going to help Ukraine anymore, he wins. So he's trying to buy time until American sentiment goes, we're done helping Ukraine. The reason why Ukraine hasn't fallen is because of America and because of Ukrainians' grit. But if America stops helping to the degree that they've gotten, they fall. Putin knows this. So he's watching and waiting. And he's playing the wait game. And here we are 6 months into Trump's presidency. Something has to give and something has to be done. And so, I think we had a lot of high hopes, and we really thought people feared Trump, and people do. Other countries do. But we're looking at, Putin and his history with Russian intelligence and all that. He fears more not getting back what he wants from Ukraine. And he also doesn't want to look like was it secede is the right word to Trump? He wants to look like Trump fears him. And so he's going to want to look better. He wants to show that he won. And so how does Trump do that? Well, he could try to cripple them financially. He could try to scare them with military pressure, or he could just stay out of it completely. I don't think he should stay out of it completely. But I think the war needs to end this year. Most of us could agree this is horrible on Ukrainians. They're dying for no reason, and they're doing the best they can, but money's going to run out. And there's only so much we could do. And if other NATO allies and if the European Union wants Ukraine to still be able to defend themselves, then why aren't they putting more money in? So I agree with a lot of what Trump is saying on that, but it's got to get executed better. 1-877 Doc Daliah. Dr. Daliah here. Are you tired, burned out, gaining weight, succumbing to the daily pressures of life? Well, how's your dopamine doing? How you feel right now, how you'll feel an hour from now, and how you'll feel next week is completely reliant on your dopamine. Our daily motivation and willingness to push through challenges depends on the intricate chemical process dopamine provides. Christian Kalikas and I created Deploying Dopamine, a book that tells you what dopamine is, when it dysfunctions, and how to successfully deploy it when needed. Find Deploying Dopamine on Amazon today. Check it out.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you, and be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.